in addition to the 7 companies, including 2 spin-offs that you built, we're actually here on a day where you announced an 8th company. And so it's worth talking about what you're trying to do next. This has been months in the making. And how do you follow the playbook of the past to build the company of the future?
I'm trying to make money for shareholders. That's what I've always tried to do, and so far we've done it. And I'm trying to follow the same playbook that I've done over and over again and not deviate from that very much. And that playbook is find a big industry, and building products distribution is pretty big, $800 billion. Try to find an industry that grows just by itself, organically, without me acting as a catalyst. And building products distribution has been growing about 7% per year over the last 5 years. So you can do a lot with 7% organic growth. Try to find an industry that's fragmented enough where there's enough things to buy, because the single biggest lever for value creation, in my playbook, is accretive M&A. And there's plenty of things to buy here. You've got 7,000 distributors here in the States. You've got 13,000 distributors in Europe. So there's 20,000 potential targets out there, which is keep us busy for the next 10 years.
10 years. There's also a near-term plan that's quite ambitious. You told my colleagues over at Bloomberg that the plan is for this new company, QXO, QXO, to build $1 billion in annual revenue for the first year, and a company that's $5 billion in annual revenue in 3 years. How do you do that?
M&A and organic growth. But the biggest component of that's M&A. It's buying things and then improving them. So if you look at XPO, for example, we did 18 acquisitions, and if you take all their EBITDA that we bought and just pro forma it all, you'd have about $1 billion of EBITDA. But fast forward a few years later, it was doing over $2 billion EBITDA. So it wasn't just buying stuff. Anybody can buy stuff. It was buying stuff that made sense to buy on accretive terms, in a disciplined way, getting synergies between the different things that you're buying, applying very strong management practices to them, and improve the profitability and the return on capital of the business. And I plan to do the same thing in building products distribution. I think it can be done.
Well, explain what's going on here, why you chose this space. There's a lot of questions in America about the underinvestment in homes, the underinvestment in infrastructure. Was it the market that drew you to this opportunity, or was it the idea that it's just simply fragmented?
It's both. It couldn't have been just one or the other. It wouldn't have checked all the boxes. I like the long-term fundamentals, and as I wrote in the book, you got to get the long-term trend right. If you don't get the long-term trend right, you can do all kinds of stuff right, and you're just not going to create alpha. And if you get the long-term trend right, even if you mess stuff up, you're still going to create alpha for the most part. So what I like about building products distribution is there's going to be more things built 5 years from now and 10 years from now. I think it's a safe bet. You've got a several million unit shortage of housing here in the United States. That's not going to last forever. That's going to drive construction. You've got really old residential construction, like over 40 years old. When I was a kid, an old house was 10 years old. And it was like, this is 40 years old, 42 years old is an old house. So you're going to have a lot of repairing and remodeling of those residential constructed places. That's also a big end user for building products distribution. And then if you look at the non-residential, the commercial part, it's even older. I mean, the average structure in commercial is over 50 years old. So, and then the third component is infrastructure. So I want to play on residential, I want to play on non-resi, and I want to play on infrastructure. I like infrastructure a lot. When I say infrastructure, I'm talking about rebuilding all the bridges and the tunnels and the roads that really, all of us living in New York know, really need a lot of work. And most people think that's going to cost about $2 trillion. So even if we get like a little chunk of that $2 trillion, that's a good nest egg to have there. So yes, the long-term trends to me look very favorable for this. This is not something that's going to be metaversed. I think we're still going to go home at night with our physical bodies to a physical place and sleep in a physical bed and take a physical shower and brush your teeth in a bed. So I think, and we're going to use electricity. So I think it's not. I wanted to do something that wouldn't get metaversed, wouldn't get just disrupted by AI or by virtual reality and suddenly not be a business and just go away.
It's funny you say that, because you are somebody who has thought about automation and how to incorporate it into businesses. And so it doesn't seem to me like you are shying away from the idea of technology and automation. It looks like there could be a lot of big ways you use it in your next world.
100%. So we've always been tech forward in all my companies forever, because I believe technology makes a business more efficient. I believe technology helps you identify waste, helps you identify stupid stuff you're doing and like unstupidize it, helps you find inefficiencies, makes things more planned out. I think it just makes money. I mean, technology has a good ROI, and therefore you should be tech forward. You should be very tech forward. You should embrace, technology should be your friend. You should position yourself so that all the advances in AI and machine learning and robotics and automation, they should be helping you. And every time new iterations come out, that should actually be improving your business and getting your business even better. So just as we use technology in the warehouse at QXO to get a leg up on the competition and get better margins, better return on capital, we're going to do the same thing here. There's a big warehouse component to this. This is a business that is kind of a supply chain business. You're buying wholesale, all kinds of different products. You're storing them in DCs or warehouses. You have a delivery truck component. And technology can help with all parts of that. Inventory management, absolutely can help on that. On the demand forecasting, on the route optimization, save a lot of money doing that. And then on the e-commerce, interacting with the customer, digitalizing that. I saw Joe Wilkerson here a few minutes ago running RXO, and you look at RXO, the brokerage business there was 100% manual 10 years ago. I mean, it was just someone talking to someone. And today, 97% of RXO's orders are either sourced or covered digitally. No human involvement at all, just pure machine to machine. I think most industries are going that way. I think building products distribution, if you look fast forward 10 years from now, or even less than 10 years from now, if you look at just the end of this decade, instead of having a roughly 4%, give or take, e-commerce penetration, I think it's going to be the majority, and it could be the vast majority. I think a lot of things that customers are just in the habit, because it's the way they've always done it, come into the hub on Monday morning at 7 o'clock and buy the same things they bought last Monday at 7 o'clock. I don't think that's necessary. I think these things can be bought on the phone. I think these can be bought on your computer. I think these things can be bought in an automated way without even proactively doing it, because a lot of these things are very predictable and repetitive. So yeah, I'm not down on technology at all. I'm very up on technology. I'm up on using technology, but I don't want to get into a business, I didn't want to get into a business that I thought could not exist a few years from now as a result of technology.
More machine learning, less metaverse.
Yes, yeah.
So if you think about the future, a lot of people are very worried still about, yes, declining inflation, but worries about the cost of goods moving forward. We talked a lot about the top line, this ability to bring $1 billion, $5 billion in annual revenue in. Do you worry at all about what profits look like in kind of this era of the future? Does it cost you more to invest in that technology, or does that technology strip out the costs for businesses?
Okay, so I'll answer that in two time frames. When I started United Rentals and when I started XPO, when I went to my traditional investor base and they had been in United Waste or they'd been in United Rentals before what they invested here, I told them all, they got the joke, don't bug me about earnings for about 2 years, because I'm going to build up a huge back office infrastructure of shared services for accounting and for sales and for FP&A and for prediction, all the things that are in the blood and gut, I need to be able to absorb billions of dollars of revenue and get an invoice out and get paid and to pay bills and to just make everything happen and close the books promptly every month. The blood and guts of the back office, which is really, really important if you're going to grow fast. You have to have a machine there. There's a machine that's very, very well oiled. So part of that is investing in technology. And I want to get ahead of the curve in technology. I want to be behind the curve in technology. But so the first couple of years, I think the investment in technology and the investment in the back office, in the infrastructure, in the spinal cord, the central nervous system of the organization, that's going to penalize the P&L in a major way. That's fine, because that's not an indefinite thing. That's a short-term thing. And then you have this huge J-curve after that, because now you've got all that set up, and you can buy things of many billions of dollars in size and actually function well. And it's not just the $1 billion revenue run rate target and the $5 billion revenue run rate target that I'm excited about. Those are like steps along the way. What I'm really enthused about is getting this company to tens of billions of dollars in size. So if you take XPO, GXO, RXO, if we hadn't split them up, it was like a 20-something billion dollar business. I want to do something twice that big. But I don't want to do something twice that big just for some like empire building ego trip kind of thing. Like this is not my thing. I want to do that because I have a vision, to answer your question, that returns on capital will be higher if we're bigger. We can leverage SG&A off of a much larger revenue base. We can get advantage of scale and density, get the whole transportation network all really functioning on all 8 cylinders, and we get margins improved. So I think over time, technology will be our friend at taking out costs and getting higher margins and higher returns on capital.